been a lot of fun. So please, though, reach out either verbally or in chat to thank our team for a really excellent effort. I can't say enough how much I appreciate the work that they put into that. I wish I could have attended the time management and email management tip sessions. I hope some of you were able to do that, but I was too busy catching up on email. So too soon, or just a bad joke. So yes, and let's move on. I was asked to come speak about leading from where you are, and we are all leaders, and I think we have something of great value to share with others. One of the most renowned business leader gurus of our time that I've really enjoyed reading about is John Maxwell. And he says that leadership does not come in a title. In fact, 99% of an organization's leadership comes from space other than the top of the org chart. And I agree with that. He goes on to talk about how we can all learn to influence those around us wherever we are. And we can become a 360-degree leader. So this is where you learn to lead up, lead across, and lead down in an organization. So all 360 degrees. How do we, in the space that we're at, influence others in the space that they're at? So the position or title has very little to do with genuine leadership. You can lead others from anywhere in the organization, and I think it makes a much stronger organization for that. Sorry, I had to click on my continue recording before I could keep going. So now I want to ask you this question. John Maxwell goes on to say that leadership is a choice that you make and not a place that you sit. So how many of you, without calling out any names, know of leaders who hold a title, but not necessarily the influence with the organization? Somebody maybe who may fill a role, but not have the confidence or the respect of their teams. So keep this image in your head for a minute and ask yourself, what are they failing to do as a leader? Think on that for a minute. So if you have that image in your head, now I want you to flip this around and think about someone you know who may not have a leadership position or title, but has a genuine respect for others, and they lead by example in the space where they are. So I'd like you to take a moment and post in the chat some of the characteristics of these types of leaders for you. So I see thoughtful, personable, inspirational, that's a new word, inspirational, caring, concerned about others, a good listener, patient, informative, sense of humor. They encourage, they're dependable, strong and empathic, supportive. They set by example, encouraging, reliable, responsive. Excellent. So lots of good examples of what characteristics we like to see in leaders. And I've run into great leaders in every space in OSU Extension. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what does leading from where you are in Extension mean to me. It was really interesting to listen to our keynote speakers from Improv Edge. Alex Leafold and Dionysia Williams came and talked about how you should show up, positivity, adaptability, and improv. And I saw that video after I drafted my notes, but because of much of what they talked about were things that I had identified already for leading from anywhere and everywhere, I thought I'd incorporate some of the ideas that were similar. Because, you know, as they mentioned, that it takes upwards of hearing something 6 times before it actually sticks. So this will be kind of time number 2 for some of that. And then I want to follow that up with some additional thoughts, and then my challenge to each of you. So first impressions matter, and how you show up matters. The best leaders that I know show up ready to engage. They project positivity, they project respect for those around them, and they communicate their excitement and pleasure for others through their body language, their words, and their actions. So there's that consistency all the way through. And I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to pick on a couple of my colleagues in Worcester. So Vicki and Sarah, here it goes. In my Worcester operations office, we are in this old brownstone building. And that building seems to appeal to every lost soul on the footprint of the OSU Worcester campus. So we often get people who are lost and simply need to know where to go. They've never heard of Extension. They're looking for maybe somebody in the science building or the research building, or they're completely lost and they were trying to head to downtown and find the commissioners. Vicki and Sarah have never just said to them, "I'm sorry, but they're not in this building." They welcome them in. They chat with them. They ask them who they're trying to find. They look up the information and the location. And then oftentimes they'll walk them out to the parking lot and point out in the direction and describe the building that they need. And it's usually a 5 to 10 minute conversation where they often teach them a little bit about OSU Extension. So that's leadership. That's a moment when they've just built a relationship with a stranger who now has a much better impression or a first impression of OSU Extension. And now I don't know if Angie Kishak is on the call, but I'm going to pick on her for a minute on a topic that I call building connections, and building connections matter, right? So Angie Kishak is in Columbiana County. She receives calls just about anything and everything at their county extension office, even though they're a single educator county with a 4-H educator. And I've been there when she's received a call about canker disease in trees, for instance. Now, raise your hand if you know anything about canker disease in trees. Exactly. So it would be easy enough for her to say, you know what, we only have a 4-H program. We don't have an A&R educator. Or have you thought about calling Davies Tree Service? But she didn't do that. Instead, she takes the time to locate other OSU researchers on main campus, other A&R researchers and educators across the state, and some resources. And then she got back with the individual with a name, a fact sheet, and a website that helped them learn more about extension resources for future topics that they may not have known that they wanted to learn about yet, and additional questions. And that's leadership. That individual will remember that OSU Extension values them and is a resource-rich environment that is including beyond the county where they live. So not only did they get a good impression of OSU Extension in Columbiana County, but now they know that we have a relationship with all the researchers at Ohio State, and that's powerful. So I challenge you to think about how you can build connections with your colleagues in your county and across the state, and especially with our clientele. Thinking and asking yourself, how do you use every single interaction that you have each day to bring value to that person and to the mission of Extension? How does your first impression reflect with others? Did they hear a smile over the phone? And we all know what that sounds like, right? The person that you call and it's like, or that Taco Bell drive-through that you went through and you're like, do they even want to work here? Or those that engage you with a smile and you can feel that energy over the phone. Did we try to help them obtain an answer even when we didn't know the answer ourselves? Are they going to want to come back? Will they have something positive to say to others about OSU Extension because of that impression that we made when we met them? And that's leadership. You're all on the front line. You're the first faces that people see when they come to Extension. You're the first voice that they hear, and the first chance many of them have ever had to engage with our organization. So as the initial power brokers of Extension, we need to use that leadership power wisely. Leaders also step out of their comfort zone. And I don't know if you know it, but I step out of mine nearly every day. My daughters never believe that there's something that makes me nervous or something that I might get anxious about or things that I don't know exactly how to do. And I'm here to tell you, I am a lifelong learner, and nothing has demonstrated that more than just even this last year. So it's been across my lifespan. And I say this to make sure that you all know that there's times when I really nail it. And then there's other times that I bomb terribly. But I try to learn from that experience and add that to what I call my leadership toolbox. I believe it's important to take risks. I believe it's important to try new things when you might not be sure of the outcome, and to make mistakes and learn from them. And then when you make a mistake, it's important to apologize when you mess up and do better the next time. We are a learning organization at OSU Extension. And you don't just learn by doing what you already know how to do well. I mean, that's where our comfort zone is. But we learn by trying, certainly by stretching, and by pushing ourselves and others to reach new heights together. I encourage everyone to have some stretch goals this next year, right? Every year we get asked, what are our goals for this year? I know that that's not our favorite activity. Sometimes it's easier to kind of brainstorm that on a whiteboard and then think about how to put it into words. But each year, I think it's important to push yourself beyond where you've been before. So let's look for some stretch goals this year. Ask yourself, what can I do to take my skills and this organization to the next level? So what I'd like you to do right now is take a moment and enter into the chat box ideas for a stretch goal for this next year. Don't be shy. It can be in bullet form. It does not have to be a full sentence, and it does not have to be a perfect goal. So all of you perfectionists, don't think that way. Just jot something in the chat box. And then I want you to look at what others are sharing and think about getting some additional ideas. So take about 30 seconds to do that. So I see working toward a bachelor's degree, and that's an excellent benefit of being here at the university, right? I have to see if I move up in my chat box over here because I've only seen a couple in there so far. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction on this mouse. Here we go. Embracing new technology, coming to improve office management. Master Workday in 1 week. Nice. Become more proficient at Qualtrics. Here they go. Transitioning to Workday and learning Workday. That's going to be a big one for all of us. Always learning in Qualtrics. Pivot tables. If you don't know what a pivot table is and haven't fallen in love with it yet, I encourage you to take an Excel class at that intermediate level. Working with Nelnet, which is great. We've got a lot of people who are starting to engage in cost recovery in ways they haven't before. So Nelnet's really good. Learning more about Excel, Qualtrics, and Nelnet. Zero. Job aids for Workday. Vicki, was that a volunteer? Was that like volunteering to develop a job aid for Workday? Microsoft Teams. I just, the dean actually had our LOD unit come and do a Teams training for VP cabinet. So everybody's learning all the time. And so think about how you might do that in your county. 4-H online transition handouts, education for family and advisors, OneDrive. With our Office 365, I'm going to dig deep into that to learn how to better and more effectively use the Outlook features. And then also you can start new Excel files or Word files right out of your email and all kinds of things. So lots of really cool opportunities here. And then Stacy Hicks said, helping build a teamwork atmosphere. I love it. So keep those coming as I continue on, but thank you for sharing those. And then leaders take initiative. They don't sit back when they don't have someone telling them what to do or keep doing something the same way when it makes no sense. Insanity is continuing to do what? The same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So ask yourself, what could you be doing to improve a process, a form, a meeting, a website, or even an entryway so that it's inviting to the public and introduces them to extension. And you can insert lots of other ways to take initiative here. So thinking to yourself, what is it that I would love to do? How many of you have filled out a form or done a process and you're like, oh, this is excruciating. Or I wish I remembered how to do this. And so Vicki was mentioning job aids. Some of my favorite moments are when people on my team can anticipate what it is that I might need or one of our colleagues or clientele needs are, and then really develops something or brings it forward or does a mock-up for it and says, hey, let's think about this. Those are super exciting moments for me. And I would encourage any and all of you to think about how do you as a leader take initiative locally for the things that need to be done or offer your services out even more broadly to others across the counties and across the state. So the opposite of leadership is disengagement and antipathy. I would say to you, and this is for my friend T, who gave me a little sign, and Julie, that says, be the change that you wish to see. Because I think that's huge. If you don't take that initiative, who's going to take that for you? And if we all did that, think about what a better world we'd have. So when you take initiative, you move the system forward and you take the pressure off of others to have to own everything, which opens space for more collaboration and more innovation. Think about that. When you take something on and take an initiative and reach out to others, how does that open up some additional time and space for them to do other things that they might be really excellent at? So think about that. Think about how you can reach out and be innovative. And I always encourage feedback on how to make things better. But as everybody knows, if you come to me with a problem, I expect you to show up with some specific ideas for improvement. And usually I'm expecting about 3 of them. So be thinking to yourself again, provide feedback, take initiative, but come up with ideas and don't be afraid to take a chance. A leader also provides a safe environment for sharing, trying, and failing. So ask yourself if you're comfortable in that zone to try things, share things, or fail. And ask yourself if you're providing this opportunity for others. Do people know that they can run ideas by you without feeling like they've been judged? Are you available for and good at active listening? Or as they mentioned earlier this week, just hearing but not listening? Do you allow others to try new skills, knowing that it may take longer at first as you navigate that whole learning curve thing where we all kind of struggle because we know it's going to take longer to tell somebody or show somebody how to do it than it is to do it ourselves? What are we doing to allow people to take on those activities and try them after we've shared our knowledge to build that capacity for everyone? That's leadership right there. And in doing that, you're growing a colleague's competencies. Do you reach out beyond your county lines to others to share knowledge and skills, to mentor those in areas where you excel, and to invite them into new leadership roles? I'm very excited about what I'm seeing through COVID as it relates to a lot of your colleagues here and how you're sharing information and knowledge about how you do things across county lines. If somebody's really good at fiscal or they're really good at organizing or using a certain tool, I'm seeing a lot more people reach out and share that with one another. And I would strongly encourage you to continue to do that. I think that's fabulous. And a lot of times, we'll learn new skills and they'll have something to share with us as well. And then thinking about those new leadership roles. One of the things I was most excited about, and I don't know if everybody's as excited as I am yet about stewardship roles, but I think they're amazing. And I think that for a couple of reasons. One is it gives a lot of distributed leadership that allows everybody within a county to participate in some of those things that used to only maybe be held onto or owned by one individual within a county or an office. And so think about those stewardship opportunities as a way to give in areas that you may not have been able or encouraged to do in the past, opportunities to get professional development and opportunities to really learn to be a leader at all levels, and then to grow those skills for advanced leadership over time. Don't be afraid to take on those leadership roles. The only way you get good at them is by volunteering from them. And I know lots of places need people to volunteer for that. I love when the speakers talked about listen, collaborate, and adapt. All contributions are important and valuable. And a lot of times we forget that, right? We start to take a look at something and judge an idea as it's said, or we're like, oh, there's a reason why we can't do that. And we forget to think about just what's being said and the value in understanding it, thinking about it, evaluating it, and making choices about it. One thing I would encourage is for all of us to work hard at using positive language and reinforcement for those who are trying and putting themselves out there. It's not always easy to step out of your comfort zone, and we don't always give reinforcing words to people right at the moment that they need them. So I was really excited to see during the improv edge, a couple of you really step out, and I could feel it. I could feel the pain. They're like asking for volunteers, and time was going on, and more time was going on. So kudos to Christina, Ingrid, Carol, and Jared for stepping out of their comfort zone to engage in that improvisation. We're not always going to have the answers as leaders, but taking a chance to improvise when something needs done and no multi-year strategic plan is in place with specific prescribed action steps, it's important sometimes to be able to step out of that comfort zone and to try things so that some things get accomplished. Often the best step forward is literally a first step that can be modified through collaboration and adaptation. And I'm a big believer that collective genius is a much better approach to solving problems than simply leaving it up to those with leadership titles or positions. And there's nothing in this world that we can't learn more about by bringing in different perspectives, ideas, and a willingness to gather a variety of individuals together to think about how they would approach a problem or a situation. It just makes us stronger. So listening, collaborating, adapting, and not being afraid to do what I like to call edit early and often. Throw something out there. Team McCoy's excellent at this, putting out what we like to call a straw man. model of something that somebody can respond to. So how many times have you been in a meeting and you're like, well, what do you all think about? And then it's like crickets. But how easy is it if you put something in front of someone to respond to? It's often much easier. So listening, collaborating, and adapting. And then finally, I would encourage you to be empathic and always, always, always assume good intent. As leaders, it's always hard to lead in a way that's going to make everyone feel like they've been heard, that you're never going to get a full level of consensus and agreement on anything. There may be disagreements about how something's approached or not approached, how money is spent or not spent, how we go about different things. But always, if you assume that there's good intent for the different things that occur, it's a good starting space. We all come from a place of wanting to make OSU Extension the very best it can be. I have no doubt about that. We all have very different ways of showing it or leading, but each of us has something to contribute each and every day. And I try to approach every day by asking what I can do to provide the space, the resources, hopefully some inspiration, and hopefully some vision that you can all connect with, that ensures that the many amazing professionals that we have in Extension know that they are valued and empowered to move this organization forward and to build the leader within. I look forward to leading with you wherever you are. So before you log off today, please type at least one thing in the chat box about what you personally will do to lead from where you are. And then I want to thank you all and know that everything that you do in your leadership space serves the citizens of Ohio and one another. And for that, I'm grateful. Thank you. Let's see what you've got for chat. I am supposed to remind everybody that you should register to attend the annual conference, and that registration will be open in a couple of weeks. Right now, no official pricing is being shared, but get that on your calendar for December 6th, 7th through the 9th. Gee, I almost got that wrong. And be ready for seeing more information.
And I want to thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much for closing and being so inspirational to all of us, and for all the people who have attended and who have planned and led this conference. I want to go ahead and turn it over to Shalise right now. Shalise.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for attending the session today. Thank you, Jackie, for all that you said and encouragement and inspiration that you gave today. I just wanted to give a quick reminder. I am going to send the recordings. So I added them to a YouTube playlist, and I'm going to send the link to you all to review any sessions that you may have missed. The sessions that will not be within the playlist will be the diversity and inclusion sessions. So the session with Leo Taylor, and then the other session with Nicole and LaCory. Those will not be on the playlist, as well as the Employee Assistance Program session will not be on that playlist. So everything else will be. However, those 3 videos will not be there. However, I hope you all enjoyed everything. I will send an evaluation out to you tomorrow to give your feedback. And then if you have any other questions, again, don't forget to register for the Extension Annual Conference. Thank you, Jackie. If you have anything else, or if you need to contact me, just let me know if you have any questions. Thank you to the planning committee. You guys rocked it. I'm excited. This is a great virtual conference. So that is all I have, Lori.
Okay, well, thank you again. And let's go ahead and kind of use what we've learned and make it a better place.
Thank you, everybody.